Coming, but we can welcome them. No, Valerie's been doing us with Zoom, but she's not going to be present. Anytime you're ready, Michael. No, you're going to ask for a roll call. It's easier. I don't want to do it every meeting, so somebody.
We're live.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Hudson Planning Board meeting for October 11th, 2023. Linda, can I get a roll call?
Chairman Joyner,
Here.
Mr. Foreman,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mr. Cody,
Here.
Ms. Ray,
Is she on?
Ms. Young.
I think Miss Young is coming. She's just a little late. Okay,
You have a forum.
okay, thank you. Okay, could I get a motion to open up the public hearing for 735-737 Columbia Street?
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are they here?
That's online.
Oh, are they online?
Oh, Vicky's. No,
That might be.
no, that's.
No.
Okay, all right, so what we'll do is, Ryan, you have a report for us, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna review our consultant's report on 737 Columbia Street.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So we, last time we were before the board on this application, we delivered comments, some preliminary comments on the need for a sanitary sewer engineering report. And then also regarding some of the environmental investigations they had done to date. So we reviewed those items, and they also provided a revised parking proposal as part of the previous submission. So we provided comments on those items. One thing I want to note when it comes to the parking proposal is we've had some conversations with the board. One thing that, is important as we go through these different projects is to have uniformity, some level of baseline between all of these different projects that we have before us. So, we don't have parking comments in this letter here, but we will have them for you at the November meeting. And really what we're working on is between all of the, there's a number of applications before the board, at least 3 that I can think of that have parking studies. And again, between those and previously approved projects, we want to make sure that they're all being reviewed and looked at from the same level and to be able to provide the board with those comments. So those will be forthcoming. From an environmental standpoint, and I'll go out of order from the letter, but I know we talked a lot at length about the environmental concerns last time. Since that time, the applicant has addressed all of those comments satisfactorily. So you'll recall there was some petroleum contamination found on site. The applicant did call that in and work with DEC to get a spill reported, but then also closed out. They did do a supplemental investigation looking for PCBs based on the prior site usage, and nothing was detected. So that there's no further action regarding PCBs. And they've agreed to go ahead and install a passive sub-slab depressurization system. And that was, we discussed the doing the air monitoring inside the
That's for
structure.
the air quality now?
Correct, the
Okay.
air quality. So that will be done as part of construction. So you'll note that most of our comments under the environmental section are regarding potential conditions of approval that you may want to consider. So making sure that that system is installed, making sure that there are no in-soil gardens that are used for fruits or vegetables, and that if they run into any petroleum impacted soil during construction, that those be that the city and DEC be notified. So those are all items that you may consider as conditions or as mitigating factors during the SECR review.
Okay.
Regarding the sewer application, we provided a number of comments. I'm really not going to go into detail with them here, but we're well, I'm happy to report we're meeting the city, the city administration, planning board, DPW, and BNL, where we have a meeting on Monday with the DEC, regarding all the sewer extensions going on in the city. So hopefully after that meeting, we'll be able to assist applicants a little bit more on the process. And, you know, these items here, we're looking just for some clarifications. And we'll provide that additional information when we have it to applicants on all projects.
Sounds good. Okay, do we have any questions for Ryan by the board? On his report? I know you got it today, so you didn't get a chance maybe to read it all. So we can take it until next meeting, or you can send him. Is it okay, Ryan?
Oh,
If we email you any questions we may have,
Yep.
and then we can discuss it next time. We good?
I know I emailed you, well, Victoria emailed you earlier, regarding the count of how many people, and I addressed it to the board as well. There seems to be confusion on exactly how many people they're suggesting. And I think part of it is because of the fire code, they cite the fire code on their table, but they don't, and then they have their own numbers.
Mhm.
So where did you pull your numbers from?
So what we based our numbers on with looking at the sanitary demand is the seating capacity on the chart. And one of our comments really was for the site plan submission, we understand that under code, there's max occupancy requirements. However, it's not really a requirement for the site plan. So to eliminate confusion on occupancy, we've requested that they remove that part or that table from the site plan. And also clarify the seating capacity. So the plan submitted indicates a total of 345 persons or seats would be available. And then the engineering report further breaks that down into 70 outdoor seats in the courtyard, 200 seats in the event space, and 75 seats in the restaurant. Now, what's unclear to us is whether there's a potential that all of those are occupied at the same time. So it would appear that the courtyard is going to be used with the restaurant, so that there would be a situation where the restaurant and courtyard could be at capacity, but will there also be events going on at that time? So it's something where even from a sanitary perspective, they could provide an explanation saying, hey, we're only ever going to use the event space and the courtyard or the restaurant in the courtyard, but not all three, to then reduce that hydraulic loading. And then also from just a general impact standpoint, it would lessen that 345 number to, I think, a maximum of 270. So that's something that I think we need to clarify with the applicant is how those uses will all, whether they'll occur at the same time or whether there's different combinations that would occur.
Is there?
Ryan, sorry, wait, I'm waiting. Okay.
Do we have the number on the standing capacity in the event space? We talked about seating, but most events,
Correct.
we see most or people standing.
So, and that's something that depending on the type of events that are to take place here, we may want to consider. So typically it's based, at least from a sanitary analysis standpoint, it's based on seating capacity. There's not really a deviation for standing capacity. However, it would be, that's where if the applicant, with the max occupancy by code, I think the event space says 230 would be the max under code, where they're saying 200 seats. So, that could be part of it there, and definitely since the applicant is on Zoom here, if they can provide clarification of that, there may be a need to differentiate between seats and if they're going to have standing events as
Yeah, I
well.
just want, because usually your occupancy will have both waiting for a standing room events and seating,
Mhm.
and especially for an event space. So I'm just wondering what that number is.
Yeah, and really we would want to, all of our numbers would be based on a maximum situation. So let's say they'd have a 230 standing, 200 seated, we would use the 230
Right.
standing, but if, you know, if that can all be clarified, if there's gonna be kind of those different scenarios at play.
Okay, is that the applicant? Is that the applicant? The
Yeah.
lady?
Yes, yes, yes. Hi. So I had a question regarding process, but just to speak to that a little bit, we, in working with Crawford Civil on the sewer capacity, we really tried to provide what is going to be the maximum amount at one time and reflect that in and on our site plan. So those numbers can be taken in order to reduce confusion. Like, we understand that we need to design for and plan for maximum scenarios in every space, in every way. So the maximum that would be on the site is the 345. So that would be, and we've been working with Crawford to really understand, you know, because there's different calculations for, let's say, I think it's called something that is associated to an event venue versus a dining venue for sewage. So trying to figure out where that classification, where that line is drawn. And I think we're hoping to sort of work back and forth with Ryan to come to once we receive comments to address that. But right now, yes, we have the 275 counting as that one type of classification. That's the event venue, and then the 70 as the restaurant classification. We may, you know, it sounds like it will be sort of a back and forth. Once we receive comments, we'll work with Crawford to figure out what that means for sewage, and then if we need to adjust the seating that we have and where, and talk about different hours of operation, so that to mitigate that all happening at the same time, you know, we're open to discussing that. It would just be dependent on the comments that we receive. And that was also sort of my question is, so it sounds like you've had a chance to at least look it over and understood that you're having the meeting with the DEC on Monday, which is awesome. Are we going to receive comments to start that initial conversation with Crawford to be able to continue developing sewer, or are we waiting until after the DEC, whether that's November planning board or sometime in between, to receive comments on sewer?
So the comments thus far on sewer, which we'll make sure you get a copy of, are really need to be, we need to address them or go, you know, come to a determination on, no matter what the combined sewer whatever that comes to after working with DEC. Now, once we get some more determination on that, you know, I've had some conversations with Crawford and Associates on another application and shared some thoughts on where that could potentially go. So I think once we get that feedback from DEC, we will definitely share that in terms of what offsets might be required, what type of ratio, design storm, et cetera. You know, Crawford and Associates has already put together some modeling. So, you know, we have an idea of what those flows are, but then we need, you know, the design storm, the offset ratio, those are all going to be dependent on DEC feedback. But we're able to nail that down. We'll be able to provide that, and then it's going to become an item, or, you know, focused on how do we provide, how do you as the applicant provide that offset so that it's satisfactorily, you know, the modeling is satisfactorily addressed.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think our biggest question for the DEC, which it sounds like you've been talking to Crawford about in other projects, is this idea of sort of averaging our general runoff between stormwater and sanitary, because we have, you know, right now, if you all recall, the backyard of TJ's is fully asphalted over. It's a completely impermeable surface. So there's a lot of, you know, that prohibits the natural runoff to go into the ground. So you have a lot of stormwater runoff, and our proposal that we've worked with in the environmental PPE and the environmental component is to remove all of that asphalt to make it permeable. So we're actually decreasing our stormwater load quite a bit in doing that. And if we're able, if the DEC is open to us being able to take an average between the stormwater and the sanitary, we're much closer to hitting, the design target. So that's our biggest question for DEC. And until we sort of have a sense of how amenable they would be to that, it's hard to continue with the modeling, with the design modeling, because
Absolutely.
yeah.
Understood. And yeah, I mean, typically how this, and we'll share that approach or that thought process with the DEC as well to see if they have any feedback. Typically what we've seen in other regions, other DEC regions is basically having so the engineering report lays out that there's an anticipated wastewater flow subject to change based on comments of 6,200 gallons per day. A lot of times what they'll require is removing 4 times that amount of stormwater from the combined system. So if you're able to accomplish that on site, and we can document that right now all that stormwater flow is going to the sanitary system, and you're going to remove that, then and it's 4 times that amount, then you should be able to do that on site. And that's typically what we've seen elsewhere, but those are some of the factors that we're trying to nail down.
Okay,
And
got it.
provide that feedback and definitely happy to work with, you and Crawford to really, try and provide as much guidance as we can.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. And so there is a possibility that we would be able to connect with you about this prior to the November meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Michaela? I just need that clarification. So you're saying in the event venue, 245 is the maximum capacity you're gonna have in any, whether it be seating or standing, that's your maximum capacity number?
Correct.
But if
Because we calculated, as we said, there's the fire occupancy calculation, but then there's just the types of events that we're holding and the business model of the restaurant, and really not wanting the space to feel too crowded, but still being able to host a number of people. They used sort of typical models for weddings, which is one of their main revenue streams. So really thinking about what is, let's say, the biggest wedding that they would be able to accommodate, also with their catering services and all of that. So it was a combined effort between looking at their business model, looking at the size of the space, and looking at code.
Right, so you're saying, because maybe I misunderstood what you said, because I thought you said 245, but it's 200 here.
275.
It's
No.
so
Just different event space I'm talking about.
Oh, just in the event space, yes, 200.
Perfect, okay.
plus whatever's on the outside, is that part of the?
so the what's presented in the current iteration of the plans is 200 in the event, 200 seats in the event space, 75 seats in the restaurant, and 70 seats in the courtyard.
Right.
So that's where we get the combined 345. And what the applicants represented is right now they are proposing that those could all be in use simultaneously. So your maximum would be 345.
Okay.
And that's fine. It's just, now we have the clarification.
Yeah. There's discussion for that that's also related to whether there's plenty of discussions to be had where the truth is that use case scenario, I would say, would be a couple times a year, because it's requiring that it's summer, that you don't have, it's a specific type of booking in the event space where they haven't booked, the courtyard. It's a very specific collection of circumstances that we have discussed with Crawford, with Little Debs, that it's really 3 to 5 times a year max scenario. But we understand that they have to plan for that, but it is interesting. It's something that we're interested in talking to Crawford about in terms of the wastewater and thinking more critically about that, but definitely not an everyday scenario by any means.
All right, anybody, did everybody get a chance to, Ryan is going to give us his, review on the parking, probably soon. But does anyone on the board have questions about it now? Okay, so we'll hold that until, in case you have one after we get Ryan's review. All right. Okay, so this particular application, we still have to keep it open because of the sewer issue,
Mhm.
all right? So can I get a motion to adjourn? the-
Crystal, would you like to make a comment?
Yeah. I have
Oh,
a
Kristen.
question. It was asked at, one of the prior meetings, I don't know if it was last month or the month before, if the other projects had contemplated the parking needs for other projects that were ongoing. And I know we'd asked about the parking study for this particular project. I have another, project that probably is impacted by this parking study, and I'm wondering if that's available for the public online so that we can, look at that and read that into other projects here in town.
Right, when we get Ryan's review on it,
Got
we
it.
will make it available on the city website.
Perfect.
We try to make everything available, okay?
Yeah.
All right, and then you're right about that. Okay, so any more questions from anyone, on the board, anyone in the public? Okay. So can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing to November? Continue the public hearing
So moved.
to November.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 612 Hudson Avenue, by mistake, we didn't, they're not, they asked for us not to, until November, but that's okay, because we all got, communication. is not there. So I'm gonna open the hearing. Can I get a motion to open the hearing for 612 Hudson Avenue?
I make a motion?
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And, does anyone have any questions?
I have a question, but
Yes.
if the applicant's not here.
He is not. You can still ask,
I work with the applicant.
but you can still ask the question.
Okay.
I may have the information. I don't know.
You
And then your question goes on record and,
Understood.
send it to.
Understood. Do you have an idea of the pricing yet for the single family homes in the town?
I don't have any idea of that. Is there a specific reason you're asking?
That's.
No, the specific reason is, I think there's a lot of, trying to think of the right word. There's a lot of people that are worried about the pricing of Hudson going up in affordable housing.
Is it gonna be affordable? You're trying to say,
It's not, doesn't necessarily, I don't know if it's gonna be affordable, I'm assuming not, but how far will it push the rest of the housing stock, I guess is really the question, because, based on the sales prices, the rest go up, because everything's sold in comps. So that's my question. My other question would be how big the lots will be individually.
Okay, we're gonna send, he's new, we will
Yeah.
send him, Linda, make sure he gets the plans and tells us the.
Oh, I don't have those plans.
No, you don't, and we're sorry about that. Yeah, he's new.
And I'll just say towards your question, the more housing stock that's available to meet the demand that's there, the more we can see prices come down. It's simple economics, and I don't think that the city can expect developers to spend the time, the money and the energy to develop a project like this, which is quite significant. We've been now just in front of the planning board for over a year now. At quite a significant expense. I just don't think that the board can expect the whole projects coming into town are going to be on the affordable scale. It is quite expensive to develop here.
It's gotta be affordable for someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish I was a billionaire to control some of this
Gotta
stuff
be
around
affordable
here.
for someone, because he's not gonna make a dime. So it's gonna be affordable, but just,
Yeah, it also just in the same way how one parking at one project informs other projects. If we know this is coming in at market rate, that might, make us think about future projects in a different way. That's what I was curious. So.
okay. Good question. Is there any more questions about it? We'll just ask. Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn this public hearing to November?
So.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Old business. 402, 406 Warren Street. Are you here? Hello? Okay.
Because this is this is cancel.
Okay, we're gonna move it to, all right, so, they're not here more than likely because,
Wasn't noticed.
Right, it wasn't noticed as a public hearing, but, so we're going to, can I get a motion to move this applicant into the public hearing for November? What, do we want to do that since they have to go through the same thing as, the sewer extension?
Brian, I don't think they need to, right?
So 402-406 Warren was a previously approved application, and they're before the planning board now for a change to that site plan approval. However, we are reviewing their sewer engineering report amongst all the other ones that are previously approved.
Right.
So I think what we've discussed with the board and with planning board council is that this project, their modification to the site plan does not need to be held up by the sewer issue.
Okay,
Because they were previously approved. However, they won't be able to get a CO without resolving it, similar to those other 10 projects or so.
okay, so we'll move, can I get a motion to set a public hearing for 402-406 Warren Street in November?
Can we motion?
And I'll second that. All in favor? Okay, so we're gonna move them to November's meeting for the public hearing, okay?
I believe that part.
Well, yeah, what's the date?
Just so we can start.
They do require sewer extension.
They do.
They do. Okay. And we've already reviewed and provided comments on it.
It is November the 14th, right? Yeah, November 14th. We're moving that public hearing to November 14th. Modification to the site plan will not hold up. Okay. Good. Now we go to new business. So we have new business, 726 Columbia Street, return drawing is back here. This is phase 2 of the original approved site plan. You didn't correct that. It's got single site plan, now divided into 2 phases. And being submitted by the applicant. Phase 2 request to demolish and repurpose the interior space at 726 Columbia Street to be built and used as a tavern for small batch blending, bottling, and farmhouse brewing beer. Also to allow licensed food vendors that is separate from the business. This is a map for the food vendors that has nothing to do.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, so is the applicant here to?
Yes.
go in there?
Crystal Hines of here and
Hey,
here,
Crystal.
Mike Lane is on Zoom. As you just indicated, the project was previously approved for a 2-phase development, the first phase of which is completed. The applicant had a great summer at the space, but realized that the next phase took a little bit more than they had originally anticipated. So what they are proposing today is to add another phase into this phase development.
Phase 3?
Well, so this would be phase 2, and then the final,
So they're proposing another phase, mean phase 3?
well, this would be phase 2, yes, and then the final phase would be phase 3.
Okay.
Yep. And essentially what they are proposing is to create an indoor space that essentially mimics the outdoor space and provides sort of an indoor beer garden, so that they can continue their sales through the winter and then hopefully continue on the expansion to the full approved site plan. Importantly, they're not changing the lighting, the heat, or the plumbing in the property. We have included in the package this evening the EAF, just some generals about the proposal, some supplemental information, and along with the lighting fixtures. And then we have the proposed site plan along with the site plan that was previously approved.
Thank you for the site plans and thank you.
Another anticipated capacity for the people that you're gonna have inside?
The capacity is going to be the same. I understand the total capacity for indoor and outdoor is 140 persons, and capacity is limited, I think, because of the number of bathroom counts, but Mikey, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
And they still gonna
Yes.
stay the same amount of employees, 5? Or have they increased the employees amount? You had originally said 5 employees.
The occupancy load is gonna be the same because it's governed by the plumbing code and we have 2 unisex bathrooms, so that puts us at 140 occupancy. The on-site employees will be comparable because we'll be running the same business. Just taking it inside and having a space for inclement weather and stuff like that.
Now, everybody know where this is, right? Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I actually have 2 addresses. We have 725 State and 726.
I understand, yes. 726
Yeah.
okay, okay. Alright, let's refer to this as 726 Columbia, return drawing. And I just want to put it on record, that because I looked at your application again. 726, return drawing. You're the owner, Michael, what is that?
Yes.
Lene is the owner of 726 Columbia Return Brewing, right?
They're the
You're the
owner.
owner of Return Brewing
They're the owner of
LLC.
Return-
Yes.
The property is Galvin.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're the owner of Return Brewing LLC.
Correct.
Because on the application, it doesn't make the connection.
Got it.
So I want to make sure who
Gotcha.
notes that you are the owner, okay? Because Galvin is given Return Brewing permission, but not Michael.
Right.
Oh. Thank you. Thanks, Teresa.
All right, so, you wanna, we have nothing to put on, so we gotta put
So-
something on the.
I would be happy to walk you guys through the proposal. If you want to just look at the printout and I can just kind of look on my end and we can chat through it. Does that sound good?
Okay, that's great, but we are really gonna ask that the applicant start to give us the paper, but probably just 3. But definitely put, bring it in digitally so it can be, online and
Got it.
everyone can see it.
But
Okay.
Mikey, if you wanted to share your screen, you could do
Sure.
that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Give me 1
Can
second.
see, they can't see our papers.
Okay, I can share my screen.
Can't see like this. I'm gonna need 3 of these. So for yours, these. And the rest,
Give me just 1 moment.
okay, you keep yours out there. Then you take yours. Linda, you have one? So keep yours, mine, and this.
Mm, Okay,
Gonna be those 2.
can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so Crystal honestly covered a lot of what I was going to say, but the proposal is fairly straightforward. We just want to take our beer garden experience that we have outdoors, bring that indoors, create an indoor assembly area. In our previous plan, we had a small production area. We're just going to move the location of that. The indoor area is going to mirror the aesthetic of the existing outdoor beer garden, and then we're not changing lighting, heat, or plumbing. And the specs of all the lighting that we used in the previous plan and that will be in the new space are all in the appendix. The reason, pretty simple, just that the full approved plan that we can now call the phase 3 plan is just a bit too much for us at the moment. So budgetary constraints getting in the way there. But we're hoping that by monetizing the interior space and having a full all-weather space that we can work towards that goal for the full previously approved build out. I've got the diagram here on the left. You can see this is the new space on the left. You have your modest production area, the proposed indoor assembly area, 1 new glass door for egress. You have your garage doors down on the bottom of the page. And then if you take a look on the right, that is how it fits in the context of the full plan. So you have the gray area up top, which will still have no public access. You have the space that I just went through, the existing bathrooms, and then below that you have the existing beer garden area that we've been operating since May. Then the one other note here is there is a small area for a proposed food truck or food vendor. That would be a rotating food vendor that would be there on whatever day and would be a business separate from ours. So it's very similar to what they're doing right across the street and how, the food truck thing works. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Are your operations the operational hours gonna be the same?
We're not going to change them from what they are right now. We're probably going to be more seasonally changing. So we're probably going to reduce hours as it gets colder and then increase hours as it gets warmer. But
And what time, what is your, on the weekends, or let's say on Saturday night, when do you close?
we close at 10 currently.
If you look at the
It's in there.
supplemental info, under number 3, it has the hours of operation. I think it's the last, the second, the middle page of the 3.
That's in this page right here.
I apologize.
Yeah, I just flicked down to it for you guys, but it is on the last page. It's number 3. We have shorter hours Tuesday, Wednesday, then up until 10 Thursday through Sunday.
I'm not understanding the phasing plan. So phase 1 was the outdoor production space. Phase 2 is the indoor tables. What's phase 3? I'm not.
If you look at the last page,
Yeah, so if we go to the the next page, you'll see that the original plan involved a bar build out, a kitchen, and a brewery space.
Yes.
So that that would still be the full vision, is that approved plan? But for now, sort of a simpler, more achievable plan that fulfills most of our goals, but not all of what we set out to do yet.
So phase 2 that was previously approved, that is still the end goal. You're just proposing to insert a
correct.
middle kind
100%,
of stepping stone.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I want to fully understand what we're saying. You came in 2021, 22, and you had one application, one plan that was approved.
Correct.
You came back and you divided that approved plan into 2 plans. Well, we only decided on phase 1. So we never decided on phase 2 of when you came back. Now you're coming back for phase 2 of dividing the original, and you're dividing that into 2 more, right?
But as I understood it and what I was told at the meeting last December was that our existing plan would remain approved,
Mhm.
and then we would build for the smaller plan, which was phase 1. And so when I'm looking at what I have up on the screen here, which is the previously approved plan, I was told at that meeting that this was still approved. So then we're just working now within this plan to do part of that. And that would be this, what's here 1.5. I don't know the best way to phrase it, but what we have here written as 1.5, which is a beer garden experience indoors, a small production area. And then the existing beer garden as is, the existing bathrooms as is.
It doesn't this
Well,
generate,
Well, it was my understanding, and I was not the attorney at the time, I have to check with my colleague. But looking at the approval resolution, phase 1 for the outdoor space was approved, and preliminarily. The concept of phase 2 was approved, but it says in the resolution, I believe, that you have to come back for phase 2 approval. I don't believe phase 2 was approved
no, it wasn't.
at the time. I like looking at the resolution, which the internet went down for me and I can't pull it up. So I'm having issues. But look, when I'm able to get on it, I'm gonna keep trying. Like when looking at the resolution, when I looked at it earlier today, I didn't think that the whole phases were approved. I just thought preliminarily as a concept, phase 2 was approved. That was my understanding.
In, I believe it was March of 2021, that's when what we're now calling phase 2, that full plan, the entire scope of this the reason we're calling it this previously approved plan was because in March of 2021, this was approved. We began build out on it, ran out of funds, adjusted to the plan that we then achieved in May of last year. And now we're looking to do another intermediary step, but we were told in December that this plan remained approved from March of 21.
And my understanding
You were
here,
told, when was you told that? What would you say in September? In December of 2022?
Yes.
And there is a resolution on file from December 13th, 2022.
Yeah, that was for the whole,
It says building into two phases, submitted an application for amended site plan approval to convert an existing commercial building into a brewery in two phases. Phase one consisting of the establishment of an outdoor beer garden,
okay,
an interior production space with two interior ADA accessible bathrooms,
okay.
and phase two consisting of the renovation of the remaining interior space of the building. Now the resolution goes on, however, that's how it was described in December 22.
And it's noted that it's approved.
Yes, it is a site plan approval. I'm reading through right now what was, stated in the resolve clauses.
and
That was
it's
when
my
it came back.
understanding that zoning and historic both have expiration dates on the approvals, but I've not found anything in the code wherein site plan approval has an expiration date.
Nobody's saying that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, because I.
No, nobody, that's not even a thought. The thought, I'm trying to figure out how much changing is being made here, how much change is being made. Because it was approved in its entirety in 2021. That's
Yes.
prior to coming back in 2022. Okay?
Yes.
2021,
Yeah.
I wasn't the chair, but I remember this whole thing, correct me if I'm wrong, John, was approved. Then they came back in 2022 to divide it into two phases. Now they're here in 2023, they got phase one approved with, like you said, phase two. Now they're here saying, well, okay, we want to take that and divide it into another phase.
Correct.
So that's where I want clarity and, I mean,
So looking at the resolution, I mean, the wording is a little confusing, in terms of it does describe both phases at the top, but it doesn't describe both phases at the bottom. But it does say ambiguously that the entire site plan is approved, and the earlier iterations were put in, so I believe the entire thing was approved.
And this is a scaled down version.
right, so.
Yes, if I could quickly interject, one thing that I didn't mention about the plan is that as we've created it, there's nothing that is going to change anything in the final plan. You'll see the proposed indoor assembly space. We're talking about bringing in tables and benches, doing the remediation work that would be done for the already approved plan from 2021, doing that remediation work, bringing in tables, a mobile bar unit like we have outdoors right now, and then bringing our totally mobile production space, which is barrels, a bottling unit, bringing that and putting that in this other area, but not building anything that will change the final plan.
Okay, has the square footage changed? I think I read something where you had, was it 3,000 square foot? Has that changed? Have you, are you doing less or are you doing more? Are you doing the same?
The assembly space is the same,
Okay, so.
but the only difference is that the area that was proposed for our full brewery build out, which is now says no public access, is just nothing for now. It's an empty warehouse.
Okay, this is gonna be something we're gonna have to look at, these plans, the changes and what they're asking. Any questions from the board?
What do you want to look at?
Yeah. I wanna see, are we allowed to kind of see
Yeah, I mean, you should ask the applicant what the changes are, that would require, when the planning board is reviewing things, when you get a prior approval, you have to stick to that site plan. And if you don't, if you change the site plan, then it becomes a question for the planning board, is it substantially different, that's
Exactly.
altering the approval? Cause he was approved for phase 2, like, as it was drawn on the earlier iteration. He's now coming in and saying, this is a completely different plan, and it's up to the planning board. Your discussion needs to be centered around, do we, like, as in, if he needs approval, is it substantially different? And then what do we need if it's substantially different?
That's exactly, because we no longer have the code enforcement doing this for us. It's something that we have to do. So I'm saying we do need time for this. So can we do it now?
It also might be useful to take a look just at the previously approved plan.
Yes,
So if we just take a look at that quickly, you've got the bathroom area previously approved, you've got the beer garden, which is built exactly to spec, so that is identical to what we previously had. Then you have this area in the sort of the gathering area, which is set up with tables and a bar unit that was approved. That large built-in bar is not in the new plan, but it would still look to be in the eventual build out. What it would be instead is just tables, right? So we're just taking the same spaces, but doing a really less expensive build out is the whole reason for any of these, any of the phasing and all of that is all just monetary reasons. And we're looking to work within that existing plan and do something that's achievable in the short term and can get us through the winter and all that.
but you have a part that's dark in here that says no public access. So does that mean which I thought you said that's the part that's not gonna be used at all?
Well,
Right.
if you look at the.
Right, that's the phase 3. when
Yes.
the time comes.
Yes.
It's
So,
not phase 2.
Yeah.
So phase 2 is different from what was previously approved, being that you're cutting this part off and saying we're not going to use that. And,
Until we get to the
okay,
next bit.
exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's what we need to look at. What is the, in a sense,
I mean, okay, so what's here before the planning board tonight is, in theory, okay, so also there are conditions in which site plans need a public hearing. This does not need a public hearing because it's been previously approved, and then 2, even if it's a completely new application, it doesn't need a special use permit. So it doesn't require a public hearing. So you, in theory, could approve it tonight if you chose to do so. You could do a public hearing because they're always on the table if the board chooses to do so. You could ask the applicant for more information if you feel like there isn't enough information. You can ask any questions. Now, from an environmental standpoint, SECR was already done on this, and it's my position that the SECR does not need to be done on this. This is a type 2 action. This is reconstructing of a building that's already in use. So there's no environmental concern. SECR has been closed on this. So really what you're looking at tonight is like, the other option you could go is, this isn't a substantial change, but they're back before the board. So it is a substantial change, but you could, in the theory, also say this isn't substantial and you could go forward with the prior approval. That's your other option. But it's my recommendation that you decide, you just debate if you want more information from the applicant on how you guys want to proceed.
okay, any questions from the board?
Just a comment from my other board members, I think it seems like a less intense use, and if they're building this because financially it's, better for them, and Hudson's already getting pretty cold, and if their main operations are outside right now, I'd really rather not hold off on this for them. I don't want it to impact their operations.
Anybody else?
Really appreciate that. Thanks.
Good point. That's right. Yeah.
What did you say, the team?
I said, I don't seem to have a problem with it. That's not.
Don?
Right off the bat, I did.
So for the motion.
Yeah, and then I would, and then you can put out a motion for approval. I would condition it on extra.
So we don't have to, okay, so we don't have to do a public, okay, how about a public, we don't. want to
No,
do a
no.
public hearing? No, we all agree? Okay, I would like to, but if you guys don't, you can.
No, we all agree.
Okay? If you're asking me, and it's all my, It's a public hearing. Okay. I just wanted on record that I'm saying yes and they're saying no.
You're the boss.
No, but I don't force you guys.
Well,
No, I am not, it's hard to know, so I said. Okay, so we're gonna set a motion to replenish your escrow for 30, let's get an amount. 35. 35?
What's the
$3,500.
escrow for at this point?
Yeah, what is?
Well, there was a review, like, I did review the application for like Secra and Standard, but there is no engineering costs and.
Okay, but so a $3,500 is excessive if it's just a review of the
Wait a
application.
minute, hold on.
And you will come
Let me
back
see.
into the board.
Let me see what is your balance. Let me see what the balance is.
We shouldn't have a balance.
No, you have a balance, meaning escrow balance. What kind of money do you have in escrow?
You should already have some.
You should have some.
No, I don't think that we have any money in escrow. I think that was closed out at the end of the last, when we got our last approval.
I see.
And actually, we paid you the escrow after the fact because we weren't aware of it until we went to get our building permit and were told that we didn't have escrow.
Understood.
Right.
So then.
Okay, 726 Return Brewing, you do have a balance.
Okay, I mean,
That's good.
it's this one, so
This is this.
I think that's sufficient.
Okay. Okay, we've determined that you do have a sufficient balance in escrow. So we won't have to, yeah, you do, you,
Great.
Can I ask what is the balance?
No, because the reason why I don't give it out is because it may not be updated,
Got it.
okay?
Got it. I guess I'm just curious as to
So
why.
what I have now doesn't mean that everything's been paid,
Got it.
so that's why I don't give
But
it
I'm
out.
just curious as to why the board would have anything in escrow if this was closed out in January.
When they came back for phase one,
Yeah,
we
got
had them
our approval.
replenish we had them replenish the escrow,
And-
and that is the remaining amount.
But
From
usually you
phase
send
one.
that back after they.
No, we don't, we send it back after, they get their CFO, that's what we've been doing.
I think what happened is because it's a phase plan and the intention was always to phase it, it stayed, but you're correct. Typically, after it is closed, you get your CO, you do get escrow back. But I think, and again, I wasn't here, but I think it's because it's phased. And it was always your intention to come back for the board.
Got it. And we don't send it back until after the CFO.
Correct, you are correct.
Right, we may close the application, but we don't send them back until after.
Got it.
Because
So you have the motion was back here this time.
I want to ask a question. Did you ever do, you know that, you know what that was, the place was previously to, going in there, you know, it was a garage or a tire garage? Or
Yes,
something like that.
yes, tire factory, Van Cleeks.
Are you guys gonna do an air quality flow in that place? You ever thought about it? Yeah.
That is a really good question. We ran a number of tests before the initial application, but this was now in early 2021, so I can't tell you off the top of my head. You're asking about an air quality test?
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
Decide where you're gonna be brewing, are you still gonna be brewing beer?
Yes, we're going to be doing the same light production that we mentioned. Look, I believe we would have run an air quality test, but I'm not 100% sure.
Code question. I don't know if it's required by code, but at the time, the planning board could have, it can always be a request, but it may be required by code depending on former site use, to do a negative pressure air test.
Is that space gonna be ventilated by the brewing equipment in the production space?
So the space will have the two garage doors and another point of egress. We're not putting in a ventilation system because we're not installing any sort of boiler system. It's small enough production that it's going to be, if we even get this far, it'll be an electric system. If we were to install a boiler, then absolutely we would need a ventilation system, as I've had at previous breweries I've worked at, but this is very small time production. the majority of our production, I probably should have reiterated this. The majority of our production occurs across the river in Catskill.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's something that
Nice
I
to
forgot
know.
to bring up. So we have small batch only here.
Is that on Water Street?
Yes,
You did say
Oh, that's
small
right.
batch blending.
yes.
That means it comes in and you blend it there mostly.
Yeah, there's different barrels. We age it, taste the different ones. When it's ready, mix them together, bottle them. Bless you.
And I have conversations been had with the fire department. Have they toured and given the approval, or are you waiting till after approval to do that?
The fire department, did you say?
Yeah, like fire code, have you had the?
Yes, so we're working with Albany Fire. They have just come in and redone the entire, or gotten the sprinkler system back up operational. As mentioned in the plan, the sprinkler system will undergo a test before we would receive a C of O, but we just last week they came in for a third time. The system is operational. It needs to be tied to our alarm system, but we're probably a week or days from having fully functional sprinklers.
What happened will be in there too.
Yeah. Okay, so since you all agree, can I get a motion to approve 726 or 725 Columbia's 726/725?
I'll make a motion.
With a condition that, they pay their escrow if we, I don't think we're gonna run out of money for them to do. That all fees,
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll
Okay.
second that.
okay, all in favor? Anybody opposed? No, okay, so we did a resolution for approval? Yeah. Okay, and that was, Ben and Tina. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm still sharing my screen, aren't I?
That's okay. Great board, I like the independent thinking, really do. Oh, follow you. My God.
Do you all need any extra copies? They do have a couple.
No, we haven't, thank you. We can stay on these plans?
No.
No. So,
Right. It's all.
okay. We have three, we're gonna keep Linda's, mine, and yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And those, one goes to Craig, one stays here, and then we have the version on there. Okay, now we're gonna go to other business. We don't have minutes for September, so we have nothing to approve. I don't have bills, I'm sorry.
We have them.
You have them?
Never sent to you.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, we can approve them, because if they were sent to me, I sent them all to you. So can I get a motion to approve the pay bills?
Make a motion?
All in favor? Okay. And then I want the training, I think, Ben, have you done all your training?
I have 1 hour left, but I'm gonna attend that
Gotcha.
seminar.
And, I think are you finished?
Sorry.
You finished? Yeah, John?
Training that's coming up.
Okay,
Yes,
Yes.
sorry, thank you.
yeah, so Ben's gonna do and John's gonna do, and then Val.
And I
She's not on.
saw the thing today about,
Yes,
thing for college, and I think it'll be.
okay, thank you guys, you have to have your training in before the end of the
I
year,
gave you my certificate on that.
right, but you did the 4 hours, right? Is it 4 or just 3?
I mean, that was, well, I don't know how many hours.
Are you done?
He attended
He's
the
done?
same
I'm
workshop
done.
that we did.
And she's done.
He attended the same
Okay.
workshop.
All right. All right, now can I get a motion to go into attorney-client session to talk about, the DEC issues?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? We'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. So can I get a motion to allow the board chair to, post the DEC notice, contingent upon, the meeting? What comes out of the meeting, the edits and comments?
Contingent on DEC's meeting Monday, Monday, October 16th, comments.
I have a motion.
My second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Okay, can I get a motion to authorize the board attorney to draft a planning board application submission procedures?
I make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, third. Can I get a motion to have a special meeting by Zoom of the board and their attorney and, noticed on October 26th at a Thursday at 4 p.m. Can I get a motion?
You can. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any questions more from the board? Any questions from the public?
Can I make a motion to have an exploratory committee, subcommittee for getting new software for the board? In regards to doing planning and interfacing with, the other departments in the city.
Okay, who's gonna be on that board? You or the head?
Hopefully we get a good resolution and.
Well, why don't you discuss what it is gonna be before you move?
Yeah.
You should have discussion before you move.
Okay, all right, so what this would be is a board, would be a subcommittee that would explore software that would allow us to modernize the processes of the planning board and allow us to be able to interface efficiently with both the inspection and zoning. This way, we could all be on the same page and everybody could have the same procedures and how to submit applications, and the storage procedures would be all unified for everyone. And I'd like to be the chair of that committee and.
And I like to be on it.
I'd be happy to be on it.
Okay, we got our 3 people.
Secretary's the next.
Yes. Can I get a motion?
So motion.
All in favor? Oh, who's the second?
I made the
You
motion.
made the
so-
motion, he's the second.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Is that a hand up?
Yes.
Yes. May we, the public, know what the purpose of the special meeting on the 26th is?
To discuss the public comments, the board is still receiving comments. The comment period ended yesterday. The board has to go through the comments, and it's just a session to explore the comments and make sure that public feedback is incorporated
Thank you very,
on the Colorado Russo application.
Yeah.
right. I figured that.
Okay, she's satisfied. Okay, good. Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?